Hi there, and welcome to the Curious Collective podcast, conversations designed for the conscious community to bring awareness to those holistic practices that help you live your best life. So tap into the wisdom and knowledge of our guests to heal, transform, and live as your true soulful self. Hi there, listeners. Today with us, we have the amazing Deb Flanagan from Symbols of the Soul. Welcome, Deb.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me be here today. It's very exciting and a little nerve-wracking.
Yeah, I know. I kind of was pushing to have Deb on because she's got so much wisdom and knowledge. And I've actually just completed a course with Deb, learning how to do aura and chakra reading with the deck of cards that she created herself. I can do them with the Healy, but I'm like, I just want to be able to do it like myself, to know that my intuitive muscle can be flexed. So I have just absolutely loved the last 5 weeks with you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's been so much fun. Thank you for being my beta client. And my God, you've been amazing, honestly. Like, I think Katie's readings are better than my own. She's just a natural.
No.
She's a natural. She's just, just been tick, 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 just gone with it so easily.
So much fun. So we would love for you to introduce yourself and what it is that you do and what makes your heart sing.
All right. Well, yes, I'm Deb from Symbols for the Soul. I do have another business as well, Kaizen Creative. So that is another thing as well. But Symbols for the Soul is basically my passion. I'm very passionate about symbols. I channel symbols for the collective. So I call those universal symbols. They're for everyone, like the ones that you see on T-shirts are what I call universal symbols. And then I can also channel symbols for individuals, which are soul symbols, or for businesses, which is intuitive brand design. So this, what I would class as 3 different types of symbols, right? So the universal ones are the ones for everybody, and they're the ones that you'll see on my merchandise and also, you know, in the deck, the orange chakra deck, etc., etc.
And how did you find out that you loved symbols and, you know, got into this whole space?
Yes, so I probably didn't even know what symbols were back in 2016. So like anyone on their own spiritual path or journey, things find them more than you going searching for them, right? So in 2017, I went to a workshop that was about soul purpose for entrepreneurs. And then part of that was one of the participants of that workshop received a Palawa. And I didn't even know what Palawa was. I'm like, what the hell is that? So Palawa is a healing modality that works on activating the 12 strands of DNA.
Oh, cool.
And yeah, so it has symbols. So just like Reiki has its own symbols, Palawa has its own symbols. And so as part of then I went on to study Palawa, levels 1 and 2. And as part of studying Palawa, you have to do these symbols and trace these symbols. And then from there, after completing Palawa, it opened me up to channeling symbols as well. So awesome. Yeah, it unfolded naturally, I guess.
I love that. And so when you say channeling symbols, did you see them in your sleep? Were they popping up in, you know, visions? How did they come to you?
A lot of it was just kind of writing. So just, they come through in different ways, and even still, you know, now they come through in various different ways. But initially it was just sort of writing, like written light language, you could also call it, or codes. Some people call them codes, light codes. So there's different terminology that's used. But it just started kind of like writing, and then I and then sometimes I see things in the third eye. So I actually see them, you know, through my third eye vision. Sometimes I receive them that way. Other times, if it's for a business or something, sometimes a word comes first, and then I need to kind of draw it out, you know.
I love that.
Yeah, so they come through in very different ways. There's no right or wrong. And obviously with symbols, they're a bit like, you know, symbols have been around for, you know, hundreds and thousands of years, right? The Egyptians used it as a language. It is a form of language. And even if people look at a symbol and they go, I don't know what that means, it's still working on the subconscious level, right? And somebody's interpretation of a particular symbol may be very different to somebody else's. So there's no right or wrong. But they are to talk to the heart more so than the head. Yeah.
I love that. And I love even working with the cards you've made, the deck that you've been sharing with me. For those watching the video, I'm holding one up. I know that you taught me, which is really cool, that you can actually trace these symbols into the air, or maybe get your own pen and recreate that on the paper to sort of embody what that particular symbol is on the cards.
Absolutely. And that was sort of part of Palawa as well, that we had to trace this. We had to write the symbols. First of all, we started tracing them, and then we had to, draw them ourselves. And it's really important that when you do trace a symbol, that you trace it in the order that it was created, that it was brought through, right? Because doing it in the opposite or in a different direction or orientation is not going to have the same impact or effect that the symbol was intended for. So it is kind of important to know, if you are tracing them or drawing them, that you know the orientation of the symbol in the way that it was originally brought through.
Yeah, that is super interesting. And I know that symbols aren't the only work that you do. What actually drew my attention to you in the first place was when you so passionately spoke into the creative arts and the creative arts with children and their parents. So are you able to share a bit of that vision you hold with us?
I am, yeah, definitely. So I studied HIICT, which stands for Holistic Integrative Creative Arts Therapy, in 2021.
It's quite a mouthful.
It is a mouthful. That's why they condense it to HIICT. So yeah, it's a short course. It's a 6-month degree, which is a really quite a thorough degree, actually, in regards to what you learn in that short amount of time. But even before I studied that, I was already unconsciously doing pretty much arts therapy and art programs and things like that. So I am really passionate about teaching women and children how to tap into their creativity and intuition, right? Because when you do that, when you tap into your creativity and your intuition, you're guided by spirit, and you're in a very different place than if you're kind of bogged down in the day-to-day and the grind and the slog and etc. So life flows very differently when you're trusting yourself and your intuition, and you're tapping into your creativity. Basically, the possibilities are endless.
Absolutely. And I love to even associate the work you're doing with, of course, chakras. So sacral chakra is the chakra where you can unlock the balance within it using creativity. So, adding that flow into your life where you might, I've had times where I've sat down and I've been like wanting to paint or draw or, have some clay or whatever. And I'm like, I don't even know what to start. Like, I don't even know where to start. And that to me is like sacral blockage. I've just haven't been flexing those muscles in there. So do you help people to tap into that energy center as well?
I guess when I'm doing the art therapy classes, workshops, or programs, I have other tools. So I guess I don't directly relate it to chakras. Perhaps my knowledge is not as deep and broad as somebody like yourself. I would be coming from more a place of creating a safe container where they can explore and they allow themselves to be creative. So there's various ways we can do that. Sometimes I do tapping. If I can sense the energy that some people in the class are really scared to pick up that pen or whatever and put something on paper, then we'll do a tapping exercise just to release that fear then and there. Yeah. And also sometimes, like it's all a journey. The workshops, even if it's just a 1.5 to 2 hour workshop, it's still a journey. So we might do a meditation at the beginning so that they're grounded, and then, take them to whatever the theme is, do the exercise, and there's sharing involved as well. So it's very much about creating a safe container, no different to if I was doing a healing session with somebody. We create the safe container at the beginning. What happens in the middle may vary and flex, and, you know, going with the flow, and I'm trusting the intuition. I might have a guideline, but something might just drop in to say, oh, we need to do this right here, right now. Yeah. So it's very much creating that safe container so that they can let loose and they can, you know, release any resistance or fear they have about the creative process. And I think a lot of the time, the other thing I love about arts therapy is a lot of the time adults think, oh, I can't draw, you know.
Yeah.
And
I've heard that so often.
Oh my gosh, if somebody said, here, draw that building or draw that vase of flowers. I mean, I've never from the get-go been somebody to draw things realistically, or, you know, that's not my jam. If you want to do a paint and sip, go do that. That's not my jam. That's not what I'm about. I'm about very much more abstract and creativity and releasing the emotions that are holding them back from their, you know, their soulful, divine, innate self. So it's very much about, it's not about how beautiful the artwork looks. It's not about creating masterpieces that are going to be hung on the art gallery wall. But if that happens, fantastic.
Yeah.
It is more about releasing emotions and things that no longer serve them, so they can tap into their, you know, their higher self, their divine soulful self.
And I love too that you do that reflective practice and the sharing, because I guess for me, if I'd look back on something I'd created, I'd be looking at the colors and perhaps how I did it, and, you know, which textiles I chose, and, you know, things like that as to why that came through. That would be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's part of the process. It's really beautiful to share, because sometimes you'll see similarities. Like there'll be a theme for the workshop, for example, and then when somebody shares their artwork and then another person shares their artwork, and you'll see there's similar colors or there's similar shapes and forms and things like that. So it's just this kind of aha moment that you get, that, you know, we are all connected, and usually people that are drawn to the same class are perhaps experiencing similar things as well. So yeah.
And you've run workshops with children. Do you love seeing their beautiful connected intuition at such that young age?
I do. I'll be honest, I haven't run a lot of kids workshops. I've done a couple, some with in collaboration with I'm Her, and some in collaboration with A Painter's Dream. I have also done a mother and child one, which was
using, that would be great.
Yeah, which was clay, and that was really interesting. So the mother and the child created a symbolic representation of the opposite person. So the child of the mother and the mother of the child. And then, you know, the sharing is a beautiful element, how, you know, you learn something that somebody says about you, you know, your own daughter or your own mother or something, and how they see you, you know. So
that feels really good. I like that a lot.
Yeah, so I've had a bit of a break from doing in-person workshops. I have been focusing on my art-based program, which was more directed at soulful entrepreneurs, spiritual entrepreneurs. But yeah, I have got the itch actually to start doing workshops again, in-person workshops. So that's probably the next thing to get back into. Yeah.
Fantastic. I love that for you. That would be good. I'll be there. So tell me, if you have any advice for listeners that are perhaps feeling like they're drawn to symbols and wanting to sort of get involved in that sort of work for themselves, what advice or wisdom might you have to share with them?
Well, just start researching and just start looking. There's, you know, so many groups and so much information on the internet these days. So, you know, there's a whole bunch of different types of styles and things like that. So if it's something that they haven't actually done themselves, you know, come and follow Symbols for the Soul. I do a Insightful Sundays. And so, you know, you get to pick a card, and then the reveal of that's done on the Sunday afternoon. But yeah, just start, you know, looking and researching and seeing what's out there, because there's symbol, we're surrounded by them unconsciously or consciously, you know.
Some
Even,
good, some not so great.
That's right. And yeah, so symbolism is can be used for good, and it can also be used for not so good. So be really conscious of, you know, if you do start researching this, you know, what is the meaning of this symbol, and how is that, what was the original meaning, and perhaps that the meaning of that symbol has been manipulated and changed. So making sure that if you are sharing or researching particular symbols, that you dive a little bit deeper to find the origin of it, and potentially if it had been manipulated along the way, you know. We won't go too much into that because obviously more about the symbols that I bring through are very much channeled for a good purpose, for, you know, the greater good of humanity and the evolution of humanity. But there are many.
I love them. I'm going to share my favorite one with everyone. Those that are on the video will be able to watch this. But those, you know, afterwards, check out the video. This one here is my favorite at the moment, the Soul Star Chakra card. But they're amazing. If you want to have a reading with these, you can contact Deb directly through the links below, or you can connect with me.
Oh, Katie,
you can connect with
readings
me
now. Yes.
They're so fun, and I just have loved symbols for so long, and that's, you know, obviously what drew us together, because I'm like, oh my God, a symbols lady.
Yes.
But I went to the library and I was looking for books on symbols. It is near on impossible, because I sometimes really like a hard copy book that I can just flick through. So yeah, if there's any in particular that you've got, maybe we can chat after and pop them into the comments of this podcast on all the platforms that it's on. But I would love to thank you so much for joining us. If there's anything else that you'd love to share with the listeners before we part ways, the floor is yours, my friend.
Not really. I guess just I am running or launching the proper launch of the Aura and Chakra Oracle training, which Katie was the beautiful beta client for. So as part of that training, you do get the deck, which has got the symbols for the auras and the chakras. It does go into more depth than the standard 7 chakras. So it is based on the forensic healing system, which I am qualified in, and modified slightly. So yeah, there are more than the standard 7 chakras in regards to this particular system. But yeah, if you're interested in that, just reach out to me personally, or check out Symbols for the Soul, or send me a message and I can give you some more information about that. Also, I do Northey Street markets on Sundays, not every Sunday. So again, check in as to when that is. My next one is scheduled for the 9th of April. So I do readings there and sell my symbol t-shirts there as well. So come and say hi. It can be quite, sitting there waiting for people to drop by. It's always great when I have people I know dropping by just to say hello. So yeah, come and say hi. And I think that's about it.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. Those of you that aren't sure what Northey Street markets are, is in North Brisbane, Australia. So check that out on Google. There's some amazing people there. But most of all, Deb. Thank you, listeners, and I'll see you next time. Bye.